And that was track one from the new Eric Stuart Band CD, Lipstick and Barbed Wire, My Love Can Change That. Eric Stuart actually joins us on the show as we traverse the fruited plains of America, going from Texas now to Tennessee. But Eric is actually not from Tennessee.
I'm not from Tennessee, and actually I've made that trip from Austin to Nashville myself. But I'm not from Tennessee. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, and I'm a transplant. I think they call us damn Yankees, the ones that actually come down here and stay.
Now, explain that. Why did you go from Brooklyn, New York, all the way down to Nashville? Was it obviously the lure of the music scene, I would think?
Yeah, definitely. I felt that this was kind of this utopian environment of everyone was a singer-songwriter and music was just going on every night of the week. And in New York, I grew up playing all of the clubs in New York. I had done some touring and around the country, and it was great. And we did one show here. We were out on tour actually with Peter Frampton. And he said, "Listen, we're going through Nashville. It's not on the itinerary, but we're going to be playing the Ryman Auditorium for a benefit. And since you're on the tour, you're welcome to join us. But it's really just a day off show." And I was like, "Well, I don't know when the next time I'm going to get an opportunity to play the Ryman.
Right.
That would be great." And we played it here, and just the response and being in this town. It said to me, I need to come down here. I need to be a part of this community.
Now, in the interest of full disclosure, Eric and I have known each other for many, many years in another life.
Yes.
Right, but as we get into the musical life, now I've been aware of it, and the audience will know that I have played your CDs for, this is like, what is this, the fifth?
This, I think, is officially the sixth full-length album. There was an EP long before that, but I think this is the number 6. I kind of lose track. I remember I play rock and roll, so
yeah,
that happens.
Are we looking at the same personnel, or has that changed over years, especially with the move?
I've actually got throughout the years, I've had the core members who always seem to appear on the records, which is great. I still have guys like Phil Nix playing lead guitar, and Mason Swearingen is actually not playing bass on this record, but singing. Maria Conti playing violin, and she's been on records before. Jenna Malizia singing. Drummer-wise, I'm actually using a Nashville drummer live down here, but on the record, which is kind of neat, both the bass player and the drummer are very, very dear friends of mine who are pretty well-known session players. John Siegler is playing bass, who played for years with Hall & Oates and Utopia, and Frank Velarde is playing drums. He plays with the Bacon Brothers right now, but he's got an unbelievable resume as well. And these are just dear friends of mine who have played on a couple of albums for me in the past, and I just thought that it would be nice to use them on this one as well.
By the way, Hall & Oates and Utopia should tour together.
It would make it very easy for John. He could stay on stage and have them change over.
And people in the audience would be going, what? How does this work? But
so would Todd Rundgren.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, why am I not invited?
That's right. So there's a lot of the same people, and Kevin Merritt playing some keyboards, but I also brought in some guest players, some Nashville guys. It's a very cool blend of both my Northeast people and my Southerners, and it's kind of cool. I really just, for this particular record, it was what it was calling for more than it's got to be this. And I think that's why there's even a song that has a horn section on it, and I actually found a horn section in Nashville, which was an interesting journey.
Eric, no keyboard horns? I'm shocked.
I know. Is that crazy? Yeah. I've really, even on past albums, I've always used a horn section. I love that stuff. And what's nice is that the keyboard player in our band, Kevin Merritt, actually knows how to chart horns, which is a nice plus.
I played the song that I'm considering the first single. You know how guys in radio are.
I'm always curious of what people are gravitate towards.
Well, we're going to play another track from the album, but I thought My Love Can Change That. I'm thinking I could see a video.
Yep.
It's catchy. It's pop. I hear a little bit of Elvis Costello, like a little bit of Elvis Costello influence. Am I off?
Like that a lot, and as I think both Elvis is a huge. One of my favorite songwriters of all time. I think he and I both have the same influence one step further back, and that one of my heroes, and probably one of the reasons I started playing music in the first place, was Buddy Holly.
I see. And by the way, we should mention that you and Elvis Costello apparently also wear the same kind of hats.
Yes, we both like pork pie hats.
Right.
It's very interesting. But I must say that I was wearing my leather pork pie. As you said, you and I have known each other for a long time.
That's true.
Wearing my leather pork pie for many, many years, and I remember standing in the subway, and there was a huge ad on the wall where Elvis had started his TV show.
Right.
And all of a sudden, he had this pork pie hat on, and I'm standing there looking at this picture, and I'm like, oh, man, I thought this was going to be me and Popeye Doyle. Now I've got Elvis Costello doing it, too.
You know, you mentioned the musicians that play with you in the Eric Stuart Band, and you've got a heavy hitter here, someone you've known for a number of years, Peter Frampton on the track Justified.
Yes.
Tell us about how that collaboration came about. You just gave him a call, I guess.
I met Peter. I had the pleasure of meeting Peter when I toured with Ringo Starr and his All-Star Band, and Peter was one of the All-Stars. And we became friends then, and after that tour was done, he was generous enough to offer to produce my album in Nashville. That was the first time I ever showed up here and did anything, and it was great, and we had a great time, and we've stayed in touch throughout the years. But then Peter, he had moved away. I was still living in New York, and keeping in touch, but really not working together. And recently, he's moved back to Nashville, and actually, it's a pretty funny story about what happened with Justified. I was playing a very sort of low-key, unplugged show here in town, and who should walk in but Peter and his manager, unannounced, to watch the show. Right. And it's a small enough venue that I can see them. And, of course, I don't want to draw any attention to that. He's there to just be, someone in the audience. And so I said that I'm playing some songs from the new album that we're working on, and we were midway through the recording. We had not finished any mixing yet, and played a couple of new songs, and I got off the stage, went up to Peter, and he's like, "Hey, I really like the songs on from the new record. That's great. I'm glad you're working on a new album. Remind me the next time you're working on one to leave a track open for me."
Ah.
And I said, "That's funny you should say that. I do have one more song." And he said, "Really? I'd love to play on it." And I said, "Fantastic. I'll send it to you in about a week or so." Well, then I went home and I wrote it. Because I said to myself, how could I pass up an opportunity? There wasn't 15 songs when I planned the album. We hadn't started mixing yet. So I thought, let's do one more, make it 15, and give Peter a chance to play some guitar. And actually, it's one of my favorite sort of deeper cuts on the record. He does a fantastic job, and I just think it's a very pretty song. It's just nice to also highlight, it's nice to have a name on the record, but it's also nice to highlight his playing ability. It doesn't always have to be a heavier rock song or something like that. This is just some really nice, beautiful melodic stuff, and I just thought the song also made sense for him to be on it.
Well, we're going to hear that track in just a second, but we're going to talk about an upcoming gig, but I have to ask maybe the most important question.
Right.
Specifically about this record. Who's the girl on the cover?
Funny, you should ask that. The girl on the cover is actually no one in the band. What I was trying to convey with this idea, and the design is done by a very, very talented art director friend of mine by the name of Dan Conti. The title track, Lipstick and Barbed Wire, I thought that if someone just heard that, they could think of it as, is it a heavy metal record? Is there something about S&M? What is the vibe behind that? And it's really the pleasure and pain of being in love with this person, the difficult side as well as the pleasureful side that you get from both, from a real relationship, one that's not just made up.
Right.
And so I thought, well, there's a great album from my growing up that had this both sexy yet non-pornographic image, which was Candio by The Cars.
Sure.
With the Vargas cover. And I just thought, let me do something in that vein, which is kind of either retro or whatever, and this is designed like the World War II nose art from the bombers. I wanted it to look like it was, stenciled on the side of a plane. So she looks like a pinup girl. Instead of the bombs that you drop, she's got the broken hearts.
Right.
Things like that. And that's kind of the vibe we did. So she is actually just a drawing.
Wow.
Now, if she comes to the gig, but yes, she is not one of the members of the band. She is no one that I know. She's not my wife. She's just, and we don't have a name for her. But there's also a very cool little thing too. The Widow's Peak Records, which is the name of the indie label that I own, that this record is out on. The tattoo on her right shoulder is our logo.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe you should call her Barbie. I need to go along with this record.
Hey, that's good. I like that. That's good. We'll give you credit for that, Ghosty.
You've got a show coming up at the bitter end.
Yes.
What's the date on that?
It is Friday, June 28th. We go on at 9 o'clock, and we really do go on at 9 o'clock. And we play, we're doing an hour set. The majority of the stuff will be from the new record. I'm sure there'll be a couple of classic Eric Stuart Band songs that if we don't play, some fans might be upset about. But I like to play that room. It's both big enough to hold the amount of people we want in there, but it still has an intimate vibe. It's one of the last of the great rock and roll clubs of New York. And it should be a fun night. And the best part is you get all that music and all that fun. We'll have the CDs with us that night, and the tickets are $5, so you can't beat that.
No, you can't. Where can people go online to get more information about the band, where to get the CD, all that stuff?
My antiquated website, ericstewart.com, which as we're now releasing this record, we're also talking about doing a video and then doing all of that, the imagery tie into a new website. But you can find out that information at ericstewart.com. I've got my Facebook stuff with Eric Stuart Band, or even me, just Eric Stuart. I'm all over the place. I try to keep up with somewhat of the technology.
Sure.
I still have a record player though.
As long as you still have a cassette player somewhere.
Yes, I actually in my work truck I have one of those cassette decks that it came with, and I figured out how to now hook my iPod up through that, which is very exciting. Yes.
Well, we're jerry-rigging our lives these days. Eric Stuart Band, Lipstick and Barbed Wire is the album. Here it is, Justified. And Eric, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you.